At this time, I would like to reconvene the regular board meeting. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Solis.
Present.
Segura.
Present.
Pike.
Here.
Hall.
Present.
Tarantino.
Here.
Janney. Here. Pangilinan.
Here.
We will now hold a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance led by our student board member, Brenna Pangilinan. Good evening, everyone. The board met in closed session preceding this meeting to discuss the following issues. 1, student expulsions, suspended expulsions, reinstatements, Education Code Section 48916 through 48918. Number 2, public employee evaluation appointment transfer, Government Code Section 54957. Number 3, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, reclassification, reassignment, resignation, transfer, Government Code Section 54957. Number 4, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, paragraph 1 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. Number 5, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, paragraph 2 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9. Number 6, conference with labor negotiator, Government Code Section 54957.6. The board took the following action. Moved by Tarantino, seconded by Pike, to accept the administrative hearing panel's recommendation to approve the expulsion of one student excuse me, with a vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura yes, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. Moved by Pike, seconded by Tarantino, to approve the suspended expulsion of one student with a vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura yes, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. Moved by Tarantino, seconded by Solis, to accept the administrative hearing panel's recommendation to approve the expulsion of one student with a vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura yes, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. Moved by Hall, seconded by Pike, to accept the administrative hearing panel's recommendation to approve the expulsion of one student with a vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura yes, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. Excuse me. Couldn't we have two that we suspended expulsion? Are you sure? We had. Okay. Moved by Pike, seconded by Segura, to approve the appointment of Brian Murphy as principal, Alta Vista Academy, with the vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura yes, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. Moved by Pike, seconded by Solis, to approve the request for leave of absence for one certificated employee, with a vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura yes, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. Moved by Pike, seconded by Segura, to approve the resignation agreement and general release with one classified employee, with a vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura yes, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. Moved by Solis, seconded by Segura, to reject tort claim number 17-04730 with a vote of Hall yes, Pike yes, Segura yes, Solis yes, Tarantino yes. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda for October 22nd, 2018 regular board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Solis. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Segura. Would you call for the vote, please?
Solis.
Yes.
Segura.
Yes.
Pike.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Tarantino.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
And now we will be The board is pleased to welcome Principal Louis Zumstein of Hilltop Middle School, who has a presentation for the board.
Thank you. My apologies. Guess it would help if I turn the on button. Okay, so I just want to again thank all of you for allowing us this opportunity. We have a lot to be proud of at Hilltop Middle, and first and foremost, I want to say I'm a new member to our site, and I couldn't be more proud of the individuals that we have on our team, and it's a pleasure to highlight the work that they've done. So thank you. Our mantra at Hilltop Middle School this year is Stronger Together. And, that carries down from the initiatives that the board and our superintendent have passed along, and it truly does represent the work that we're trying to do together as we try to work together in solving a lot of the challenges that we have as a school site. And that goes for all school sites, but, the work that we need to do to get the best outcomes for our students is always going to be a challenge no matter what school site you're at. But I can very proudly say that we're doing this work together. And it starts with our SLT. So our site leadership team has done a lot of work in collaboration over the last 2 years, and they were instrumental this year in kind of formulating a plan to help us move forward in identifying the greatest needs at Hilltop Middle. And that work started with the creation of a survey, and within that survey we just asked a few simple questions. And what we got out of that was a huge number of our responses, 73% to be exact, cited that building the climate and culture of our school was the number one thing or number one challenge that we had as a site to impact the academic outcomes on our campus. And that equated to 43 out of 59 staff members, and we are still working on reaching out to the community, the parents, and our students in taking some of these same survey questions out to them. But what we believe that we're going to find is that the staff's feedback mirrors that of the community and the students. So we are focusing as a school site on building the climate and culture of our school. And that's an easy thing to do with what the board and the district has kind of set in place. And there's very, very evident connections that our climate and culture work have to deal with some of the academic things that we've put in place with Sweetwater's essential elements of effective first instruction. And our staff has chosen to really focus on the first two elements in teacher beliefs and building that climate and culture within the classroom, as well as stressing some of the social emotional learning that takes place. And we're really excited to do that work. And we find that that has great connections to our LCAP goals, not just the obvious one in LCAP Goal 2, but with the academic outcomes in 1, how we reach out to our community in 3, and then we're working together to create a transparent system that really does guarantee that it's all of our staff and our stakeholders that really truly do have a voice in this matter. And then I kind of want to go over the what, and then we're going to get to a little bit of the why. But we've really kind of chosen the tool of restorative practices to kind of do this work. Again, I talked about our Stronger Together mantra, and I happen to be the new person. But I think what I want to make sure is not lost in our story is the amazing work that's happened well before I ever set foot on this campus. And to the teachers that we have in the room, to the teachers that are still in the classrooms, and those that are at home, and the wonderful support staff that we have, I think that's what's kind of lost in some of this transition is the hard work that's always taken place at Hilltop Middle, and making sure that in my role as principal that we're recognizing that wonderful work and continuing it along with some of these new things that we've determined together are going to help us move forward. And as you can see, there's some things listed such as, restorative and strengths approach that's something that happens constantly at every single meeting. It's not anything that we're going to, do and get done in one day, but it's the culmination of these 5-minute activities, these simple interactions between the adults on our campus that are going to make the big difference. And so we've dedicated and made sure that every adult meeting on our campus begins with some type of community building, and we're committed to that work. We are a restorative pilot school, so with the equity department, we've got tons of support in getting training out to our staff, and right now we're building that capacity within the adults, and within our plan, it's going to work its way to student leadership and then out into the student body. We've got great relationships with the county, and then we have this wonderful opportunity with Hilltop High under the leadership of Mr. Romero. We are collaborating more, and we're going to see a lot more collaboration as a Hilltop community, and that's something that we're truly excited about. And then what does that look like for kids on campus right now? While we're building that capacity with the adults, there's things that are taking place with our kids. We have a restorative resource teacher that's going out into the classrooms and training teachers and impacting students. We're building capacity with the restorative practices, and our teachers are taking that and getting that work out to students. And then our PLC and team collaboration, I've only been here for a few short months, but to see the work that our PLCs and our teams have done to collaborate, it's been mind-blowing and outstanding. Again, I can't say enough about our staff and the work that they've done. And that's some of the what, and what you see is some pictures of our collaboration, and it starts from breaking bread together and, and celebrating each other to some of those deep, tough conversations that we all need to have. So those are just a few examples of some of the collaboration happening on campus. And then I thought it's important that we cover the why. So we've really done a lot of searching to find what our common beliefs are, what do we value. And at Hilltop Middle, we value the family and having that healthy relationship amongst us. We really believe that teaching respect and modeling respect is what we want to do, and we want to get that out to our kids, and it starts with the adults on our campus. And then we need to model and practice this positive way of thinking and this positive attitude. And what you see there is, kind of a word cloud with a falcon, and those were our values as a staff. And, the top 3 that came out, again, were family, respect, and having that positive attitude. And then, I just want to kind of close this out with, and then again, thank everybody here for allowing us to present this. But, when you can connect what you're doing with the why behind it, it can really be impactful. And, I can stand up here all day and explain, but I think this video is going to really explain what it's meant so far to some of the adults and the students on campus, especially in regards to what we're doing with restorative practices. And again, I can't say enough about the support that we've gotten as a school site. Our staff works really hard and deserves it, as well as our kids and community. And I just want to thank you for supporting the work that we do. And if I can turn it over to the video at this time.
How has restorative helped you? Restorative has helped me take out all my ignorant issues, to respect others, to get more better friendships, and to focus on my grades and school.
Restorative practices has helped my classroom as a new teacher build classroom rapport and learn new strategies to interact with students.
How has restorative helped you? It helped me
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Principal Zumstein. Any comments from the board? Mr. Segura?
Sure. Thank you for that presentation. I can remember the last time I was here, I think Mr. Pike was here as well. That was probably 3 years ago. 4 years ago. It was 100 degrees. We had a lot of angry parents in here because we had no air conditioning. And it was right after we came on board. And I appreciate all the work that's been done here, including the AC and the work with the students. As you know, I have a student at Castle, and then my son went here. It's at Hilltop now. My daughter went here, my oldest, she went here and went to Hilltop, and she's in her grad program at Humboldt State. So this is a fine school, and thank you for the work you and your teachers and the classified and everybody here has done to support the students.
Thank you. Mr. Pike?
Yeah, Mr. Zumstein, it's very obvious from the reaction of all the teachers and the kids what a tremendous job you're doing. You know I have a spy here, and my spy tells me all the time what's going on. So he's very impressed with it, and he says the atmosphere is totally different. So accolades to you and your staff. Thank you very much.
Mr. Tarantino? No. Thank you. I just wanted to say it's very good to hear that the restorative practices are having an effect on staff and students, and their testimonies on your little video were really great. I think it is necessary for us to support that, and I'm thankful that this Hilltop Middle is doing the good work to be a pilot school in that, and that our district is now a restorative district. So I'm glad that you highlighted that in your schedule, and I think in these times the respect and family and attitude and all the things, the loyalty, the humor, the community, all those things in your word, what do you call that? The wordgram, whatever it is, on your eagle is really significant and well taken, and thank you for your presentation. Thank you. All right, and now we'll have an update from our superintendent, Dr. Janney.
Thank you, Mrs. Hall. Welcome, everyone, to our board meeting, which is, we take these out on the road because our board requests that we take it out to each of our 5 trustee areas. So thank you, Principal Zumstein, for hosting our board meeting for Trustee Area 2, Hilltop Middle School. If you would please share with your staff, we know how much it takes to prepare for a meeting like this, and so we really appreciate their preparation for tonight. So thank you and your team. So let me start with some staff and student recognition. On October 13th, Eastlake High School teacher Joel Faust and his TitanBot students sponsored their 4th annual Girls Conference. Girls stands for Girls Inspiring Real Leadership in STEM. And so this is our 4th annual conference that the students put on themselves. Student Emily Parise and the rest of the TitanBot students invited key speakers meant to inspire the attendees to pursue a career in the STEM fields. So one highlight, one speaker was Eastlake High alum Jacqueline Villalobos, who shared her journey from high school until now. And now she's in her senior year at UCSD with a major in electrical engineering. She happens to be the president of the Society of Women Engineers at UCSD. I'm just really so proud of our students for planning and actually pulling together and successfully implementing a district-wide conference at Eastlake High School. It was great. There were students from all over the district. So that's the first one. I also want to congratulate Sioux High teacher Patrick Dorr. He's a band teacher. He was selected by the California Music Educators Association for the Byron Hoyt Don Schemmer Band Educator Award. So he'll be acknowledged by the CMEA later in November. So congratulations to Patrick Dorr. And then I want to bring to everyone's attention our very own student board representative, Brenna Pangilinan, is one of 12 state finalists vying to sit on the State Board of Education. Nice. So, yeah. So we got this email from the state of California, from the CDE, and saying that if any student wanted to apply to be a student board rep for the state board, to submit this application. So we sent it off to her and to share with the other ASB presidents, and she took on the challenge, submitted her application, and now she's one of 12, which means at this point she's got to, the next step of that selection process is she'll go to Sacramento from November 5th through the 8th as part of the Student Advisory Board and Education Student Conference. She's going to have to make a presentation, and from those 12 students, they will choose 3 finalists who will then go to the new governor and the new state board, and they will pick the new student board rep. And that would happen, if she were to get that, she would be on that state board for her senior year, since she's a junior this year. So we wishing her the very best, and we are Sweetwater strong behind you, Brenna. So let's give her a big round of applause. I'm sure she'll talk about that when she comes back. Tonight, I do want to provide an update to our staff and our community on our budget situation. I know we've been sharing updates with you, and tonight's another step in that process. Our budget situation has been described as serious, significant, challenging, difficult, even a crisis. And here's what we know. Our board adopted a revised 2018-19 budget that is balanced operationally. We also know we have got a lot of work to do. There's still work to do. We know we didn't arrive at the solutions for the revised budget independently, or just from the board, or just from a few people, but rather through a collaborative process. I realize, we all realize, the board realizes there are questions, even major concerns, about how did this happen, who's responsible, how did we get here? And I'd like to start to explain that with providing some context for where we are. So much can be learned about an organization by observing what leaders and management do when things go wrong. In our situation, the governance team and district leadership teams, because there's not just district leadership, but district leadership teams, have focused on the issues and worked with our stakeholders in order to find solutions. And here are some examples. When the new board in leadership began in 2015, one of the first tasks we tackled was to revise our LCAP goals. And part of reconstructing the LCAP was taking that out to our stakeholders to get input. We deliberately chose to take it out to the 5 trustee areas, something that hadn't been done before. The way that we asked for input was specifically by stakeholder group. We asked teachers or certificated staff their input. We asked counselors. We asked classified staff. We asked administrators. We asked parents, and we asked students. And all those groups attended these meetings. We believe that that was an action of our board, our new board at the time, and new leadership to rebuild the trust and put the we back in Sweetwater. And that was our first big message of who we are and how we were going to do business going forward. And so due to the feedback from the stakeholders at those meetings, we purposefully added an additional goal. We have 3 goals, one around teaching and learning, one around equity and culture, one around parent and community engagement, and the 4th goal that we added says this: developing coherent and transparent systems for operational excellence to support each student's success. So why is that so important, and why is that so critical? First of all, it's because we are committed to honest and ethical and transparent decision making. Sweetwater Union High School District is almost 100 years old. And there are systems that have been in place for a very long time. Maybe not 100 years, but at least many examples for at least 20 plus years. So we knew that we needed to examine these systems and replace them with structures and practices that meet our current needs. So when the board first got elected in 2014-15, the most glaring system that needed attention was our planning and construction and maintenance departments. And 2 years ago, we conducted an internal review that resulted in improved systems for those departments. There's lots of evidence that these changes have made a positive difference for our students, our staff, our community, our district, and the improved credibility with our partners in the community. The HVAC projects is one of those big evidences. Another area that we knew we need to assess was the lack of integration of our payroll, our HR, and our finance operating systems. So there's been talk already out there about the 2014-15 FCMAT report where they mentioned position control. And quoting from that report, it says, to be effective, the position control must be integrated with other financial modules such as budget and payroll. The first step we took in that process was to upgrade our HR system. We were on a system called Lawson. It's now been upgraded to Infor, and that system is now web-based and upgraded. The next step of that process, San Diego County Office of Education implemented a required payroll system for all districts in the county. We did not have a choice for that. Everyone in the county, except for San Diego Unified, is on that system, and that's known as PeopleSoft. So we've been using that system for a little less than 2 years. What we know is that PeopleSoft has been problematic for districts across the county, including ours, and for those districts who implemented it for their HR and finance systems. And so therefore, we determined that using PeopleSoft for payroll, HR, and finance was not a viable solution to meet our recommendation or the recommendation made in the FCMAT report. So right now, we continue to use PeopleSoft for payroll, no choice, Infor for HR, and we continue to use TrueCourse for finance, and that's been about 20 years that we've been on TrueCourse. But what we know is that system can no longer be upgraded. And so we're looking to replace that system. We've been looking and have not been able to upgrade that yet. But to support that developing coherent and transparent systems, in spring of 2018, just this past spring, we contracted with School Services of California to conduct an internal review of HR, payroll, finance, accounting, purchasing, risk management, and benefits to get input into how we can improve the interconnectedness between those systems. And that is the context to consider as I discuss our current budget situation. So back to the question of what happened and who's responsible. The board's role as a school board is to establish policies, determine district priorities and direction, and to hire a superintendent. Those are their main responsibilities. The superintendent's role is to focus on student learning, achievement, and the attainment of the district's visions and goals, as well as to manage the non-instructional operations of the district. So ultimately, I am responsible to our board and everyone in our district for what happened, and I am responsible for moving us forward. I'm a product of Sweetwater. I care deeply about our district, and I care deeply about ensuring that areas of the district are high quality and functioning at their optimum. So I do not take this responsibility lightly. So I'm going to put on my teacher hat because I'm first a teacher. I might be the superintendent, but I came into this educational business as a teacher. And I'm going to share about what research says. Research talks about organizational health and states that when things go wrong in an organization, there are two normal types of responses. One reaction is to hunt for a scapegoat. The other is to take a systemic view that focuses on finding the root cause and to figure out how to prevent it from recurring. Research also says that scapegoating and assigning blame erodes collaboration and trust. So if a blaming culture infiltrates an organization, any organization, employees are less willing to take risks, less creative, and less likely to learn from mistakes. So, while we are not going to engage in a blaming culture, it is important to acknowledge that there were mistakes made across our system that contributed to our current budget situation. And the system's approach to addressing organizational setbacks accepts mistakes will happen, and mistakes usually triggered by factors built into the system. So I also want to share that organizations usually have a series of measures in place to prevent errors. For example, alarms, procedures, checklists, trained staff, to name a few. Each of these measures can be looked upon as a defensive layer against error. What we've learned about our current systems is that we did not have tight controls. We had some internal controls, but not tight internal controls or warning systems in place. Stronger internal controls in